Well, this is the fifth in our series based on the stories that we find in the book of Exodus. It's the stories about Hebrew people, the Israelites, and their release from bondage, their captivity, slavery, their release from their captivity in Egypt. But as we've discussed, the Exodus is about more than just some ragtag Hebrews running around in the desert. The Exodus is also our story. The changes that we all go through in our journey through life, our journey from sense consciousness to the freedom of self-awareness. The Exodus story is a story of change. And very few of us have learned to deal with change in healthy ways. We often resist change because it confronts our fear of the unknown. One of the most profound human needs is the need for meaning. Human beings use meaning as a roadmap of reality, and change often shatters our sense of meaning. It takes us into new territory where the old maps no longer work for us. And as we read and discuss the Exodus, we are searching for meaning. We're searching for personal meaning and practical lessons. Our series title, From Slavery to Freedom and From Freedom to Fulfillment, well, there is a crucial understanding that these changes in our lives, these changes are a process, not a quick fix. We're training our minds, our consciousness, into freedom. Training our minds means learning how to apply the law of mind action in beneficial ways. The law of mind action is always at work. Our thinking always affects our lives in powerful ways, but our way of thinking working for us, or is it working against us? This week I was reminded of the Zen concept of Shoshin. It means beginner's mind. Having a beginner's mind refers to having an attitude of openness, eagerness, a lack of preconceptions. You cannot learn more if you already think you know everything. So even experts learn how to develop a beginner's mind so they can always learn more. Jesus said it this way: don't try to put new wine into old wineskins. Don't attempt to put new ideas, new concepts into the same old consciousness. Developing a beginner's mind helps us set aside our preconceived ideas as we move from slavery to freedom and from freedom to fulfillment. Last week in our story, we left off with Moses talking to God on Mount Sinai. God gave Moses his commission to free the people from their bondage in Egypt. And God told Moses to first go to the elders, let them know what you're doing, and then go to Pharaoh and ask that he allow the people to go 3 days into the wilderness to make a sacrifice. God also told Moses that it won't work, but to do it anyway. Why? Why? Because as we move from slavery to freedom and from freedom to fulfillment, there are no quick fixes. We are training our minds. We are training our minds how to trust our guidance and trust the process. Trust the divine order in the situation. One aspect of divine order is learning how to trust the sequence of events, like learning to walk before we can run. We may not understand why this comes before that. We may not understand. But we have to set aside our need to do it our way and to learn to trust that Christ's presence within. Learn how to do it God's way. We have to set aside our egos and employ a beginner's mind. We must learn how to trust the process. I often talk about my mentor, Randolph Wilkinson. Reverend Randolph had served in the military, and he would make the analogy of being a soldier, a new recruit attending boot camp. The military does not want new recruits thinking for themselves. A recruit needs to think like a soldier, not a civilian. And if a recruit starts thinking for themselves in the midst of a battle, instead of following orders in the chain of command, terrible, terrible things happen. And with all its drills and discipline, the military designs boot camp to change a civilian's consciousness into one that thinks like a soldier. The Exodus trains our consciousness of slavery and self-inflicted nonsense, to think like free people so that we can move on to fulfillment. God says, "Go, Moses, tell Pharaoh to allow the people to go 3 days into the wilderness to make sacrifice." Now, it won't work, but do it anyway. Trust the process. We are in training for our freedom. Exodus 5, Moses and Aaron go to Pharaoh and they say, "Thus says the Lord, let my people go, so that they may celebrate a festival to me in the wilderness." But the Pharaoh said, "Who is the Lord that I have to listen to them, to him, and let Israel go? I do not know the Lord, and I will not let Israel go." Pharaoh says, "No way." He knows that if he lets the people go 3 days into the wilderness, well, they're just going to keep on going. They'll be gone. They'll be gone for good. Pharaoh says that if the people have the time to celebrate a festival, well, then they don't have enough to do. They must be lazy, and they need more work. If you have time to lean, you've got time to clean. Anybody have? Recently, there's been a conversation about our political candidates and their experiences at McDonald's. Has anybody here ever worked for McDonald's? All right. If you have time to lean, you've got time to clean. It's a common saying in the food service industry, and it was the motto of Ray Kroc, the founder of McDonald's. If you got time to lean, you've got time to clean. Pharaoh tells his taskmasters, this is Exodus 5:7, "Don't give the people any more straw to make bricks. Let them go and gather straw for themselves. But you shall require the same quantity of bricks." Pharaoh says that the people have to make the same number of bricks, but now they got to hustle their own straw. I always wondered about using straw to make bricks. Never made much sense to me. The ancient traditions would use mix straw into the mud from the River Nile, and they would put the mixture into molds and then dry them in the sun, and the straw strengthened the bricks, and it also helped them to dry more quickly. Making bricks without straw means performing tasks without the essential means or materials. Sometimes we try to make bricks without straw, don't we? We try to make do. We try to achieve a desired result without the required elements. We attempt a job without the essential tools or training. Bricks without straw can mean that we are attempting to work without God. We're trying to do it all ourselves. Metaphysically, Pharaoh represents our unenlightened will, our ego. And our own stubbornness tells us that we don't need help. We don't need that tool, that resource. We can do without God's assistance. We can make bricks without straw. But we really can't, can we? Pharaoh says, don't give them straw for bricks. And now the people have to hustle their own straw. What do you think the people have to say about this? The people get mad at Moses and Aaron, and they start complaining. No good unity student would ever complain, would they? Oh God, why did you lead me into this? Maybe I misunderstood my guidance. A pattern develops in the story. When things go well, the people are with Moses all the way. But when things don't go so well, the people start to complain. Later in the story, this is starts about Exodus 15 and goes on from there. The writer starts using a phrase, the people murmured against Moses. And I'd like to hear you murmur. Murmur, murmur. Can you feel it? Murmur, a little louder. Murmur, 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 murmur. Okay, good. The people go to Moses and they say, Exodus 5:21, the Lord look upon you and judge. You have brought us into bad regard with Pharaoh, and you have put a sword in his hand to kill us all. And then Moses turned to God and said, oh, my Lord, why do you mistreat these people? Why did you ever send me? Then the Lord said to Moses, this is Exodus 6:1, now you shall see what I will do to Pharaoh. God assures Moses, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry. Tell the Israel. I'll make him an offer he can't refuse. Tell the Israelites everything will be okay. The Lord will take care of everything. God tells Moses to go to Pharaoh and tell him, let my people go. But when he doesn't listen, you'll show him a couple of those magic tricks that I gave you. Last week we talked about that. Moses goes to Pharaoh and says, let my people go. And Pharaoh says, no. Moses turns his staff into a snake. The problem is that Pharaoh's wise men, the Pharaoh's magicians, they also know this trick. And they turn their sticks into snakes as well. But Moses' snake swallows up their snakes. Pharaoh's heart was hardened, and he would not listen. Sometimes our ego, our unenlightened will, can be stubborn. Our ego will resist even beneficial change that we say that we want, change that we give lip service to. But the ego would rather keep an uncomfortable status quo rather than achieve what we say we want. The ego will try to force us to make bricks without straw. Our ego will do whatever it takes to resist our transition, our change from slavery to freedom, and from freedom to fulfillment. Go to Pharaoh. Go to that stubborn place within you now and say, let my people go. God bless you all. Well, this is our opportunity, yours and mine, to pour out the gift of God from within us through our tithes and our love offerings. And let us share this offertory blessing.
Write it for me.
Let us share this offertory blessing together. Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I am joy-filled and grateful. And you can thank you, God, and you can send your gifts, your tithes, your love offerings to paypal.me/UnityLincoln, paypal.me/UnityLincoln, or you can scan that barcode there. You can also send your gifts through the mail or through a bank transfer by sending it to Unity Lincoln, P.O. Box 30209, Lincoln, Nebraska 68503, or you can go to our webpage at unitylincoln.org, and there you will find a convenient link to donate via PayPal. You can also help support Unity Lincoln by liking us on Facebook and subscribing on YouTube, and let us share our affirmation for our church family. Together, Unity Lincoln is blessed to draw the people, funds, and all that is required for the health and growth of our community and peace in the world, heart to heart, and to